Check, check, mic check. Just to get the Maui Wowie. Just gonna pick some random days. Let's just go back in time. Check, 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 to check, to check, check. Check, 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 to check, to check, check. Hey, what's going up, Simon? No, please ask away. So the juice strat, I've been trading for about 15 years now. So I've been trading a long time before all these like social media gurus came on during COVID and started kind of scamming people, telling them they were going to teach them how to trade. But when that happened, yeah, I knew they were being lied to. So for a long time, uh, I just did nothing. But then I started to get to the point where I just wanted to show people that you can do this, because there's a lot of strategies, and not my strategy is not the only strategy that works. There's many strategies out there. The Oh, sorry about that notification. There's a ton of strategies that work on different assets at different times. It's tough. That's what makes it tough is there's so much room for error, and like what they want you to believe is that it's always your fault on why you got it wrong. But with my strategy that I teach, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I teach it like a game, and yeah, I mean, it's just lines bouncing off of other lines. So I don't know if you were watching from this last day over here that I just did. I took two sells, and they were both good winners. I'm sorry, one buy and one sell off over here, and they were both winners. So, for instance, I'll show you real quick. So the sell off over here that I ended up taking coming down, you can see I have a gold zone right here, which is this horizontal line. I'm not sure if you can see it on your computer, but there's a gold zone right here, a gold line. And once price broke that, I was just looking to see how the volume was in that candle, and from there price pushed down to the next gold zone. So depending on how you were taught how to trade, you're either taught to learn how to count by pips or points or ticks or whatever it is, but regardless, price always makes these moves off of these gold zones. And what you are looking at is my juice strategy. So all of these indicators are indicators that I've coded and I've put together so that we can use it as like a total strategy. And for most people, like I don't know how far along you are with learning how to trade, but for the majority of people that learn all the basics and the foundations, usually what they lack is a strategy that works that they can trust, right? So I've been using the same strategy for more than 10 years now, like a decade now. I've been doing this. I haven't worked a day job in about a decade now, and I do the same thing every day. So what you're seeing me do today is I'm back testing. I don't really do it too much because I trust everything that I do, and I know how to utilize my strategy. But Thursday and Friday, once again, I don't know if you're a trader and I don't know if you pay attention, but Thursday and Friday, a lot of assets ranged in price, and I trade the US30 exclusively. The US30, and then sometimes I'll look at some of the other indices, the other index funds, NASDAQ, S&P 500, but I don't trade them. I only trade the US30. So Friday and Thursday, a lot of members ended up, and it's kind of the same thing. A lot of members end up getting messed up on the days that range, because that is the hardest, right? Like the hardest thing to do is to figure out when you're stuck in a range. For myself, I like to trade with the trend, right? And I like to take the entries that run 1,000, 2,000 pips type of runs. But on some days like Thursday and Friday, it didn't run, right? It didn't run, and price was stuck bouncing up and down. And that can kill an account if you're not careful, right? Like if you're not patient to wait for price to break out of the range, or if you're over leveraging your account. So all of that I take into consideration with trying to improve the strategy for how people, comprehend it. We're not changing the strategy by any means, but waiting for price to break out of certain ranges, I'm trying to work in to see if that's going to help people stop getting into those bad entries within the range. So yeah, but the juice strat is something that I teach. The majority of it is free. If you become like a member on Discord and you trade with me live, I do charge. I mean, I'm pretty open about it. $50 for your first month, and then $100 after that. I'm fairly affordable. I'm not doing it, and you'll see, like, other than YouTube and what I post normally on my Instagram. I'm a little bit more active, but I don't market, I don't advertise, because I don't believe in it. You know, like I wish a lot of people could see what we do here with the Juice Strat because it works. But then again, you know, trading gets such a bad name that the moment that and I have tried, like in the past, I have tried to put, you know, marketing money and advertising it like a company, but it just gets such a bad reputation that I was like, well, I don't need to prove myself, but if people happen to fall across my YouTube videos, because I trade live every morning, Monday through Friday, I trade live, and then I post on Instagram and TikTok. So, but yeah, I'm just a normal dude that figured it out. And once again, I've been doing it for about 15 years now. So, I mean, it's all just BS, you know, like looking at these charts, you know, what are they supposed to be? It's supposed to be a representation of price, right, of these companies. Like the US30 is, you know, the top 30 blue chip companies in America, but who cares? Like, who cares about any of that? All I see when I look at the charts every day is where's this candle relative to this gold zone? And if we bounce off of a certain gold zone, the likelihood of us running to the next one is high. Or if we break underneath this gold zone, the likelihood of price coming down is high. And that's all I teach. You know, like other people try to teach economics and finance, and you got to understand why this, why that. At the end of the day, we're looking at these candlesticks just bouncing off of things. So it's really overcomplicated with what's out there, you know, shown to the public. And I think it's all BS. So I'm here to just show at least what I do. You know, what I do works. I've been doing it for a long time. Once again, I haven't worked in about 10 years. This is what I do full time. I do have some other businesses that I've started after I started trading, you know. Once trading allowed me the freedom, I was able to do things with my money and more importantly with my time. So, yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, man. I'm an open book about this. You know, like I say, like I show like my indicators, my strategy. It's all out there on YouTube for people to take in, but to actually implement it and, you know, have like one-on-one time, that's what I do charge for. But I will tell you, at least for me, a lot of people are skeptical, and I think it's all right to be skeptical. Skepticism means that you actually have some intelligence, right? But definitely, you know, come on live, see me trade on YouTube and things like that. And if it's ever something that floats your boat and you're interested, like feel free to have a conversation with me. I'm always down to talk about trading, and it's never any obligation. You know, if you look at my Instagram, I have a Calendly link. Feel free to go and schedule any time with me that you ever want to talk about trading. I'll put my Instagram in the comment right now. But I just think, yeah, there's so much BS out there. Oh, that's wrong. Don't ignore that one. Remove. So on Instagram, I'm Edward. Perfect. But yeah, other than that, feel free to, you know, stick around. I'm going to probably spend the next hour, maybe less. I can usually get through a lot of back testing fairly quickly. I know right now I'm kind of slow on it because I'm talking, but garbage men picking up the trash. So yeah, for now I'll be running through the strategy here, and I'll probably do about like maybe 2 weeks to 4 weeks worth of data here before I stop. Please do, please do. I'm just I'm originally from Hawaii, but I live in Oregon. I live in Oregon now on the West Coast, but I'm back and forth to Vietnam as well. I have business in Asia now, so next week already. I've only been back. I've been back in Oregon for like 2 weeks maybe, and then I got to go back to Vietnam in like 8 days. And I trade over there too. So when I'm over there, that's the nice thing about trading, right? I mean, I'm sure you're aware of is doesn't matter where you are in the world as long as you can match the time up, you know. So when I trade here 6:30 a.m. In Vietnam, when I trade it's 8:30 p.m. over there. So I kind of just gotta match it up. Walk you through a trade? Perfect. When I find one, I will walk you through it. Because I'm doing this as if like it's real time. You know, what I did was I went back in time. So June 24th is what we're looking at. June 24th. Tuesday, June 24th. And so far I've not gotten in. And what I'll do is when I'm doing the back testing, and this is how you're able, you know, as a member as well, when you get the strategy, you're able to do this back testing and make sure it works. And it's, I mean, for me, I know it works. But what I do when I'm doing these back testing is, I mean, you guys need to do it so that you guys can get confident in what the strategy actually is. Okay, so nothing on this day, pretty much just ranging. So I'll take you back to this previous day here. So always I just tell everybody just go, you know, go to 6:30 because that's when 6:30 opens. And with what I've been trying to do with the strategy, what I've been trying to implement is pretty much the opening range breakout. I combine that with my current strategy. So usually I trade off the 5-minute right here. So what we'll do is we'll watch it play out. We got 6:25 this current candle, so 6:30, 6:35, 6:40. So a lot of volume here. Big volume pushing to the top side. Cross lines are overbought. So from this point, what I'll end up doing is, I think you saw me draw out that purple box. So I'll draw this out over here. I don't want this box to be, where is it? Settings. I don't want it to extend all the way. Perfect. So I combine my strategy with, well, and right now I'm back testing because, once again, like I was saying, a lot of the members end up, they get trapped within the range in the morning, and I don't know why. I mean, it's a patience thing, right? Like for the majority of people that get trapped within the range and keep taking entries within the range, that's what kills them, you know? So 6:40 here, I'll put that there, and I'll just, what I'll kind of do is I'll go to the 1 minute and kind of look a little closer for entries. For me to want to take an entry, I want to see a couple different things. The most important thing that I want to look for is volume. So this volume, it's just a normal volume indicator on TradingView, so it's nothing special. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the volume. So you can see here at the beginning, 6:30, we do have a moving average here overlapping the moving average, the volume bars. So when we have these big old bars that are over the moving average, you know, I at least use that as a signal to say that there's money in the market, you know, and I always want to trade when money's pumping, right? Like when money's pumping, it's kind of like a wave. I'm from Hawaii, so I always say, like, you know, we want to jump on a fairly big wave. If it's a small little ripple in the water, well, it's kind of a waste of our time to try to get into that. But you'll see, like, when price is making a move in a certain direction, if volume is dead, then the likelihood of that being, you know, like the market's confusing us, it's a lot. It will be like, and I'll show you, like if price is moving up and volume is low, a lot of times like that little movement up might just be a little bit of a fake out. And same thing when price is coming down. If price is coming down and volume is low here underneath this moving average, then a lot of times there's a good chance that price is going to do the opposite. Like, it's just lying. The way I like to always think about it is, I just dropped my phone. They like to lie to us, right? Like, it's for real. Like, they like to lie to us, like, because we're playing against the brokers, right? We're playing against the brokers. We're playing against all these other, you know, financial institutions, and they're not in the business of us winning. So I try to keep that in mind when it comes to not getting tricked out by the market. So let's see here. We can see that volume is low over here, so we'll do nothing really. And all I'm doing is I'm looking to see, you know, when is price going to break out of this early morning breakout. There's other strategies that we use, but that's like the first thing that I look for, is to see if price is going to break out and if it's a real breakout. So got price moving up here. So we got price that kind of pushed out of that range, but as you can see here, volume's kind of dead over here. So I'm kind of going to do nothing there. And that's the hardest part, is to just, be patient and wait for the entry to come. So you can see price is starting to break out of this range now, but our volume is low. So it's not to say that price isn't going to go up, because price can go up. But when we use the indicators are here to make the judgment call. Like what I always like to say is, the juice indicators makes all the entries. We're just here clicking the buttons. So as long as you can respect that, you'll be fine. So once again, all I'm looking for is to see where are we having volume as we are breaking out. We are breaking out, but because we don't really have too much volume over here, what I'm telling myself is, yeah, we may have some movement to the top side, but because volume is low, this buy up might not be there for very long. Basically, it might go up and then turn around really quickly. So unless you're quick to manage your entries, a lot of time it's just too much for the average trader to handle. So we still got we got price moving up, but volume is low. Right there, we just got some big volume, but we're pretty far away. So what I always like to look at is, like, from the range, how far are we? If we are like too far away, I'm not gonna get in to continue it up. I am going to be careful in case we want to turn around. And if you can see it on your screen, we have here this dotted line. There's going to be, we call them levels. In between each of these levels are roughly 1,000 pips. So it's an easy way to kind of gauge like how much we're going to be making or how much we're going after on each entry. So we got price kind of rejecting this area over here. Volume is starting to pick up. We are getting this push up here. Now we're getting some rejection. And my cross lines are overbought, so I am expecting price to come back down. Here we have volume. So even here we can see right here we got some volume. Price is pushing up and above. I usually don't take the entries that are coming back to the range. I usually try to wait for the breakout, but even like let's do this live and see how that works out. We're overbought, so overbought on my cross lines mean we're expecting price to come down. We got volume that's pushing. We've hit an area of resistance, and maybe we just look left and see if there's any. So yes, if we look left, we have over here, it was the high of the previous day. So let's see if all those reasons. And remember, trading is all about probability. There's my trading strategy, the juice strat, is about 80 to 90% win ratio. So we win 8 to 9 times out of 10. So for me, I trade. I take all the entries. I'm not afraid to take them. I'm not afraid to take a small loss. And how to leverage your account size is really important, and that's something that we go into as well. But let's just take this here. Let's see. We got price that moved under perp, which is this purple line here. Cross lines. We got some volume. Here's what I'm expecting. I'm at least expecting roughly about here. So that's about 415 pip risk, and a 1-to-1. We'll look right over here. And why right now with what I'm doing, I'm kind of all right with going just like a 1-to-1 risk to reward, because this is a different strategy, a different implementation of my strategy. Usually we're looking at bigger rewards, but because we're winning 80 to 90% of the time, taking a 1-to-1 isn't bad, right? Like there's not a lot of math. It's pretty simple though, right? Like if you have a low win rate, then you have to win more. If you have a high win rate, then you can take entries that are like 1-to-1 as long as you're winning more than 50% of the time, right? Of course, you don't want to be like 55, 60%. You want to be higher because you want to win more. But that's just why I'm okay with taking 1-to-1s. And then even sometimes if price goes fast enough to the 1-to-1, reward, I'll start trailing I'll trail the candles and get a little bit more, because you always want to make more money. So let's get in here. My stop loss, the way we implement stop loss with the juice strat is we're always taking our stop loss right above the current candle that we're entering in on. And for my strategy, we're either going to win fast or we're going to lose fast. So a lot of people will end up putting their stop loss like at a swing high or a swing low, right? So if they're selling off, they'll go like swing high. But why I don't like to go swing high is because, well, that's a lot to risk. That's a lot to risk if you're going to be wrong. If we're going to be wrong, let's just be wrong really fast. And, risk a lot less. So 1-to-1 there. Let's just put TP here. And I usually don't put TP when I'm live because, once again, I like to let it run. But for the sake of demonstration on backtesting, I like to see it actually hit the TP, and I can count that as a winner, and then it'll show up in the on the history. So let's play that out. Rejection up. That one's coming up. That one tap us down. So this is a good example of why I don't like trading back to the opening range, because we can always be in a trend, and we'll show you. We'll make it up. Watch. So price here rejects here, comes back up to the previous high. Price is still overbought. Let's see if we get another reason to take that down. Big volume up. And remember, you got to be okay with taking the losses, especially when you're like backtesting. Backtesting and accepting the losses is huge, so that you can play out your next entry. Because a lot of times what people will do is they'll get pretty emotional about their entries, especially when they lose one, and then all of a sudden they won't want to take anything else. So here we go. We got the same high that we were trying to break through, and now we got price coming back down. Let's see if we get a reason to believe price wants to come back down. So we got some reconfirmation, no volume. Price is coming down. Got some rejection there, so volume's pushing. 727. Let's say for the sake of it, we just came from being overbought. Volume's pushing. We're underneath perp again. Stop loss. And once again, I can do this quick. 351 ticks. Get us back right over there. Hard to see. Good enough. So let's play that out, see how that goes. And see, so we come down right here, just about tapping it. Boom. So there we go. Just covered our loss. Let's see if we're breaking even or where we're at that point. So right now we're about 14 negative. So let's see if we can make it up. So as price is coming down here, and this is one of those entries where, just like the first entry that we took over here, and we were expecting that to come back towards the range, something like this one here, I wouldn't have put the TP. I would have followed the stop loss coming down, because let's see how this comes. If price comes down during live, because I really never do set TPs, I like to just try to get as much out of the move as I possibly can. See, so price is still coming down. And there we go. So now price is at the top of the range right here. So that's how, as I'm entering right here, as we're getting the volume pushing down, I would be entering in and I would be waiting, moving stop loss into profit. Probably would have got tapped out someplace over here as price made a support back up. And that's good. So now we're looking at, we'll keep going. We'll keep going till we finish the day, and let's see if we can end positive. That's how backtesting works. And for me, what I'm going to do is I'm stopping at about 10 o'clock, right? Like I'll look at the data, play it out until about 10 o'clock, right about there, just so we can see. So let's play it out some more. We are at the top of the range again. Let's see if we get a rejection support possibly. We're looking here at volume. We do have some volume here. Rejection back down. And the way I like to teach trading is these candles speak to us. So we are starting to get some support here. Rejection back down. No volume. And really my kicker is just waiting for volume. So down over here you can see volume. Not quite above that MA just yet. I really want to see price get pump up a little bit. Because when we match price, when we match volume with the price movement, there's a higher chance that we won't get lied to, right? So here we go. We got a nice little bullish engulfing at 757. Volume's pushing up. So for the sake of it, let's take it. Let's take that. We're oversold on the cross lines, which means we're expecting price to possibly bump up. So let's get in here. See what a 1-to-1 looks like. 1-to-1 is 247 ticks. Let's go up. And the reason why I'm only doing the 1-to-1 and I'm setting the TP is I want to have a definitive answer at the end of my backtesting, right? It is when we're live, I'm following and I'm moving stop loss and trailing it. But for the sake of backtesting, if we can get definitive answers on does this work or not, that is way more important. So let's see here. Got the volume. Price is pumping up, bullish engulfing, rejection down, push us back into the range. So we're out there. Let's see if we get any more pumping us out. So here we go. We got another bullish engulfing, 801 pushing us up and above. We have volume. Once again, stop loss under the candle. 350. Where's our 350? 350 is roughly there. 351, good enough. Close enough. We got price right there. Boom. Good. So let's see what we're at now. Are we still? So we are about $3.60 negative. So we're still Gucci. We still got a lot of time on this day. Let's play it out. And once again, as you're seeing, I'm taking the losses, I'm making it up. I'm taking the losses, I'm making it up. At the end of the day, we usually always end positive. So that's why for those who can't control their emotions when taking the losses, trading is tough. Trading is tough for those people that can't handle taking the losses. And what you have to do is you got to remember, like, don't fixate on the goal. Right? If you fixate on the goal and you don't focus on the process, it's gonna consume you. And for the majority of people, they let trading consume them, and it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. So here we go. We got price coming down. I'm not wanting to take it back into the range, so let's see what we get here. Let's look for a reason to jump on in. So volume's still pretty low. Got some pushing up, but the volume is low. See, so just like right here, this is a good example, right? Price pushes up pretty hard, bullish engulfing, but low volume, no volume right there. So that's how, you don't get tricked out. A lot of people sometimes when they see these bullish engulfing type of candles, they'll be like, let's get into the top. But then look at that, turn right around. So when you follow volume, it definitely helps out to not get bamboozled. So now we got some volume pushing down. Big wick to the top again. Let's keep going here. So we do got some volume right here. We do got some volume. I don't really want to take it unless we break the gold zone. So now we got some volume here. So pushing down, wick to the bottom, rejection back up. And once again, all I'm doing is I'm looking for volume. So that one we got a little bit of volume. Where are we? We're respecting the downtrend. We're crossing back over. So you know what? Let's take that. Let's take that right there. Stop loss there. About 259. And you know what? Let's handle this a little bit differently. Let's do it as if we were live. And I'm going to trail this if it goes the right way. Because realistically, what a 1-to-1 here would look like would be something like this. But what I'm looking at is, and this is a fundamental thing with the juice strat is, so you can see this gold line, right? That's one of the gold zones. What I'm looking at is if we can break this gold zone, the likelihood of us coming down to minimum of this range, to minimum of the low of the day, and then to the gold zone is pretty high. So let's see how that works out. Let's trail it if it goes the right way. I can see 10 o'clock right here as we're getting close, so let's play that out. Tapped us out there. Now we're getting some more volume to the downside. Once again, I'm looking to see if price is going to break this gold zone. This coming down didn't get too much volume. Let's see if we can break through now. Now we're getting test. Now we're getting volume. Pushing us through. Let's see if we can get the break of this gold zone finally. So now we're breaking. Now we're breaking hard. And this is what it's all about, right? Like being within the range over here as prices going up and down all in this area. We're trying to just survive during this time. Like if there's anybody that tells me that they can trade throughout the ranges without losing anything, I would say they are a liar. Because it's impossible. It's impossible to have a strategy that is perfect throughout the range. But once again, all we care about is seeing where we're at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, let's see what we got here. And now that we've broken through this gold zone, I'm looking at two different things, right? Well, three. If we can break this low right here, we'll probably at least come down to this low. If we break this low, we'll probably come down to this area over here. So let's look at that, right? Let's drag TP down someplace in this area. And let's see if we can get that push all the way down. And this is a fundamental thing with the juice strat. When we have the breaks of the gold zones, if we come down, the likelihood of us coming down to the next gold zone is very high. So that's kind of what I'm playing right now is, now that we're finally breaking the gold zone to come down, I am expecting this to come down. So let's play it out. Price is falling, price is falling, price is falling, price is falling. And once again, what are we looking at? This area right here is the bottom of that opening range. We just broke that. Now we're here. Once again, if we break this, we'll probably come down to the gold zone. And I put TP there just because with how it works, and I have to push each candle. Sometimes as it's coming down, I'll exit real time live, but because we're not able to do that, we're just going to put a TP there and see if we can hit that. So coming on down right there, tapped out, positive. So let's look at it. At this point, this candle here, this is like 9:37. That's close enough to 10 o'clock that I'd probably be done for the day. So let's go and look at our, so we're up 165.10. And just remember, like that has nothing to do, the 165.10, you know, the actual amount of dollars is not too important. What's important is the amount of pips that we've gained over time, because you could have it, right? Like depending on how many contracts you guys are playing or using or implementing, you know, 1,000 pips could be $1,000, right? If you have it at $1 a pip. If you have 1,000 pips and you have it at 50 cents a pip, well then that's $500. Right now I just have it on 1 so that I can keep track on whether or not I'm positive for the day. So all that this shows you is like it works, right? Like no matter what you do, as long as you're taking the entries with the volume, when we have specific breaks of the range or into the range and running to the next gold zone, you're going to be positive. So yeah, that's it. And that's why I trade, makes sense, can see it's a nice strat. Perfect. I trade futures. I trade futures as well. So what you're seeing here is futures trading. I have members who use my strategy and they trade options. I think there's less control with options. I think there's more control with futures trading, because all we're doing is just saying price, and just like with options, it's kind of the same thing, but it's a timed contract, right? I don't want to be in a timed contract. I just want to say I bet at this point price is going to go up 500 pips or something. You know, like I think there's more power with futures and control with how we trade and how we have control with our money. Like if you come on live with me, you know, you'll see like yeah, like I only care about control. You know, I there's never a day where I hold any contract or any trade overnight. It's just not. And you know, and here's what we'll do. Let's look at previous days. Let's just go look at previous days. So if we like now that you've seen, right, you've sit through a whole day of strategizing, of analyzing. I want you to show you like basic stuff. So look over here. Right over here, this is the gold zone right here. What does price do once it blows up from this gold zone? It goes up to this gold zone. What does it do when we reject over here and come back under the gold zone? We pretty much come all the way down here. This is the 500 moving average. At that point, we'd probably be done for the day. So every day, you know, the reason why I have my strategy built out with the foundation of the gold zones is because every day price will break a gold zone and it'll break and come down, which is what it did here. Came all the way down to this gold zone, and that's money, right? Like anytime that price breaks the gold zone over here, just measure that out. You know, in pips, that's about 1,700 pips. And that's reliability, right? Like trading is all about consistency and reliability. So the way I like to teach my strategy is this is a map. Like it is a roadmap. Roadmap here, look at this. P gold zone right here, right? What happens when price breaks P gold zone? It breaks to the top side. Where does it go? To the next gold zone. That's money. That's where our profits are, right? I mean, if you trade futures, then you know it's all risk, right? Everything is a risk. But the nice thing about trading using my strategy, and despite there being a whole crap load of trend lines right now on the screen in front of you, all price did was break through this gold zone and then ran to that gold zone. So like a map, right? This is your on-ramp, this is your off-ramp, right? That's it. That is all we do every single day, right? And back testing like this. Look at this. We respect an uptrend. Where does price go? To the gold zone. We head up. Why do we reject over here? Well, there's highs over here. There's resistance. We reject it, come back down. Come back down to it. What do we do right here? We break through the gold zone. We come down. So purely like, you know, not once have you ever heard me talk about price. Because it doesn't matter. Like price doesn't matter when you trade futures. At least in my opinion, right? I don't know if how you learn how to trade, but you know, people might talk about price here and price is going to go there. That's so complicated. You know, it's complicated to worry about price and worry about news and all this crap. Look at this. Like if I was to just tell you, okay, all right, let's replay this right now. Let's go to like 6:30. 6:30. Well, this is 6:31. And let's look at it, right? Like I'm literally giving away. This is my strategy. That's why I have no problem giving it away like this, because I at least think the strategy should be free, right? Like understanding how to utilize it, that's where, you know, that's where my time comes into play, and I do charge for that. But really, look at this right here, right? Price wicks right off this gold zone right here at 6:30. Look at that crazy ass volume. Oh, I shouldn't have sworn. Sorry. YouTube is going to demonetize me. But look at that right there, right? Big old volume coming off of 6:30 from this gold zone. So if I was to ask you, if price is going to bounce off of this gold zone, where do we think price is going to go? If price is going to bounce off of it, it is probably going to break up. And where is it probably going to go? To this gold zone. And here's the thing, and this is why, like, you know, even when trading with you now, I have no idea who you are. You're a complete stranger to me. I mean, hopefully we can be friends. But why I'm not afraid to take these entries is because what happens? Like, now that we have a visual indication on where price could go up, what happens if price is wrong? If price is wrong right here and price goes down, we'll just take it down here off of this gold zone and we'll take it down. Like, that's why I think using my strategy is very powerful, because when you get it wrong, you're at an area that you can visually see, okay, if we don't go up, we're going to go down. And that's all that it is. But let's just say right here, right? Let's say we're bouncing off of here, huge volume. Let's get into the buy. Once again, my strategy, we're always using the current candle we get in as a stop loss, because if we're going to lose, we're going to lose fast. And that's huge, because if we lose fast here and price goes down, well, we'll just take this down for a sell. But look at everything, right? Even from the beginning of the day, Asia session, London session, it's all in an uptrend structure. So, but bare minimum, gold zones. We bounce off the gold zone here. Where are we expecting price to go? Up. Play that out. That's it. So every day, all I'm doing is I'm being patient and waiting to see, like, where is price relative to a gold zone, and where is there an entry that I can possibly take. I like to take it when volume is pumping. In this case, volume and price was near the gold zone, and that's beautiful, because if you get into the entry near like the gold zone, that's where the best risk to reward exists. Because if it's far away, that means that's all the opportunity that we have. So once again, okay, let's go put TP up over here. Let's get that to play out. And there we go. So every single day, and I've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years. I haven't changed a thing with my strategy for 10 years. Every day, price does something off of these gold zones, right? Broke through here, went down here, supported here, went through here, broke through here, went to the high of the day right here. Every single day it does something like that. Push over here, came down to the gold zone here. We made a W. If you trade futures or anything, W's usually mean price is going to go up. If you see an M forming, price is probably going to come down. And then what does price do after that? Price goes to the next gold zone. You'd be done by then, I'm a true believer, like the moment I start making money and we get closer to like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning here in Oregon, I'm usually going to be done. Once again, I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't have the greed, and I have good habits. But yeah, every day, it does, price respects the gold zones. Over here, shot down at 830, supported off the gold zone, shot up to the gold zone here. Rejected the gold zone here, came down. Like, this is honestly, and it took me 4 years. Of the 15 years that I've been trading, I failed for 4 years. And during that time, I traded everything. I traded Forex, I traded futures, I traded options, I traded precious metals, I traded off the 1 minute, I traded off the 5 minute, the 15, the 1 hour, the 4 hours. So I was trading when nobody even knew what trading really was. That was still when the banks were the only people that were telling you, how to invest. And, the extent of that is to just give them your money and they will tell you, okay, you want an aggressive, you want not so aggressive, you want moderate results, like whatever. That's all BS. So I've been doing it, and when I first started trading, even people are still apprehensive about what we do as day traders. But when I was doing it, it was really like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't even exist. At least now it's a little bit normal, right? It's socially normal that you guys are seeing what trading is. But legit, I was doing this when people just didn't even know that this existed. Because the majority of people know what? They know buy and hold, right? Like, buy and hold a stock and hold it. But most people I talk to don't even know that you can make money on the value of something dropping, right? Which is something I'm sure if you trade futures, right? We sell off. Once again, every day we do something off the gold zones. Over here, nice little head and shoulders pattern forming off the gold zone. And once again, the power in my strategy is the gold zones. And there's other things too. I have other indicators that we use. But the biggest thing is the gold zones. It's a map. It's a visual map. So bounce off a P gold zone here. Where do we go? Shoot up to R1 gold zone. Bounce through, right? We break through this gold zone. Where does price go? To the next gold zone. Reject this gold zone. Where does price go? Underneath that gold zone, where does it go? Right? Like, that is why. Like, I promise you, go add me on Instagram and you'll see my posts. Like, till this day, it still trips me out that my strategy works. Not like I don't believe it type of surprising, but surprising as in at some point you would have thought that if this is something that is so secretive that only like the most successful 1% of people is supposed to learn how to do this, then how the hell can I be doing it for the last 15 years, 10 years profitable? You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff, like, and I joke about it every day. I'm like, man, the feds are gonna find out and then they're gonna off me. But that's what I was doing today. So when you came on, I've been on for about 55 minutes now. This back testing and what I'm doing is, yeah, it's all I came to do today. So I'll probably be ending here in about 5 minutes. It was a great talking to you, Simon. Once again, if you want to talk some more, like, I'm an open book. So, like, to talk to me is totally free. I know I don't have to say that, but for some people, they're like, does it cost to talk to you? I'm like, no. I'm just a normal person. So I know other people will trade for, like, their time, or charge for their time, but I'm like, no. Like, even my indicators and things, if you look on YouTube, I explain all of them. They're all on there. So once again, what I charge for is really, really teaching the implementation of how to trade. And I think what's most important about the way that I view trading is that it's really just a game. This is a game of these candlesticks bouncing off of other lines. And it just so happens that it pays my bills. So it's just tweaking the psychology. And I don't blame people, like, I don't blame people for not understanding it, because there's a lot of people out there that teach, and here's the thing, they don't teach things that don't necessarily work, right? Like I was saying, there's a lot of strategies that work, but what they don't teach you is exactly what affects the strategy, right? Like, yes, psychology, mentality, but they don't teach it in a way where they make you feel like it's not your problem, like, for the most part. And I look at so many other programs that are out there and people who trade, and the one thing I always notice is that they always put the blame on you, who is the student. And I think that's unfair, because if you're the teacher, then you're responsible for your students' success or failure. And if I was to teach anybody and they fail or are failing, like, I can't be like, oh, you're the problem. Like, you're not the problem. It's probably the way maybe I'm teaching it, So that's why for me it's a sensitive thing, because I do think that if the strategy is that easy, if somebody says that they have a trading strategy that you can learn and you're going to pay for, well, then it better be something that you're going to be able to learn, right? And yes, trading does take sometimes months, sometimes years to get a good grasp on, to be consistent. But I've had people who have used my strategy, and yes, they had some experience, and they learned how to do it within like a month or two. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I have people who have taken like a year and a half to figure it out. But that's the whole point, is I'm transparent and I'm realistic about trading, right? Because there is so much BS out there. The last thing that I'm going to do is be like somebody else that's BSing out there. So thanks, bro. Really interesting to learn your strat. I'll take a look at your vids. Yeah, please do. And once again, I trade Monday through Friday on YouTube here. Yeah, come say hi. I'll be here. And once again, hit me in my DMs on Instagram if you have any questions. And feel free to ask me anything you got, man. So I'm interested to know what you do as well for your futures. Is there anything that you do that works? Feel free to message me. I am the type that I don't gatekeep. Like, if we're really here to teach people, because what's the thing everybody tells you why you should trade? So that you can live a better life, you can get out of poverty and all this crap, and don't have to work another day job. But why are people so secretive with it then? Like, if you really have good intentions for people to do better in their lives, why are people gatekeeping or charging ridiculous amounts of money to teach them a strategy that we might not even know works? That's why I'm so transparent here. So, but yeah, hit me in the DMs. Once again, I Edward on Instagram, and then I'll be here on YouTube Monday through Friday. So good to meet you, Simon. I appreciate you communicating with me. It's always nice to see people who are trying to learn. And once again, if you're at a position where you've got like fundamentals down, you understand trend lines, you know what support and resistance is, like, usually that's when something like my strategy is the most beneficial. I have taught people who know little, like nothing, but then, we got to teach them fundamentals. We got to teach them pips, ticks, points. We got to teach them support, resistance. So that usually takes those people a little bit longer. But somebody like yourself who has some knowledge, usually with my strategy, you end up doing quite well at a very short learning phase. So Once again, great to meet you, Simon. I look forward to seeing you on the lives or even just talking to me. So, and remember, there's no obligations. If what you do works and we just talk and we're friends, wonderful. That's all. That's all. That's why I'm on social media, is so that I can connect with the world and make new friends. I come from support and resistance background, but got a little grass is greener mentality by SMC ICT fair value gaps. But in coming back to support resistance, though, I can see how both work. Yeah, you know, the reason, and I've studied those as well. The reason I don't use that at all, right? Like if you've noticed in my explanations of the strategy, I don't like teaching that because the win rate's not high. You know, like yes, what you see with people who teach it, it is high, but there is so much room for error with recognizing the what is actually a fair value gap, right? And don't get me wrong, ICT is huge. A lot of people use it, but for those people, it's usually like bigger accounts, and it works better with on a larger time frame, like 1 hour and beyond. I think fair value gaps are the most strongest. When we're trading off of a smaller time frame, and that's something I didn't really, well, I did actually. You know, the 5 minute is usually what I trade off of. I'll sometimes look at the 1 hour, but really like understanding, and that's what I don't like about ICT teachers, is really the responsibility is on you to recognize where an actual real fair value gap or a real order block exists, right? And if you're playing a game, right, and I always look at it as like the casino, right, like going gambling, because in the depending on who you ask, you know, this is legal gambling. It's legal gambling on price going up and going down. And if you know that we're already playing against the house, which is the casino, if you don't have an actual edge, then you're most likely to lose. And that's when I tell people, like, once again, I'm not hating on any strategy out there. All I'm saying is the majority of them do not have your best interest in mind, and that's the scary part. Quite agree. I'm coming back to where I started with good old support resistance. That's it, you know, and support resistance is easy to see, even on a smaller time frame. The hard part about seeing it on a smaller time frame is you got to wait for things to kind of like build out. But you know, that's why I like to trade off the 5 minute. Like usually I'm looking at the 5 minute, and then, you know, just like looking at this real quick, right? You can kind of see already where's all the highs, where's an area that we might think price is going to reject. Ooh, right here, right? Easy to see. Where's an area of support and resistance? Right here, right? That resistance turned into support. So all of these times when price bounced out, and look at it, right? If you're looking at my strategy with what you just learned from me in the past hour, look at all these areas. All this area is what? R2 gold zone. Right here is P gold zone, uptrend line off the 500. Right here is P gold zone, price goes up to R1 gold zone. So is it coincidence that my juice indicators represent really, really accurate areas of support and resistance? And that's why I do this. And I'm not smart. I'm not smart at all. I'm not smart at all, which is why I figured this out. Because what I realized was, and this is the last thing I'll say before I can talk all day. I realized that there is so much room for error with the majority of strategies out there. So the best thing that I can do is trust the math, right? Trust the math, trust the algorithm that's built into these into these indicators, and let it decide for me. So that's why, you know, if you trade any of those types of even support resistance, even ICT fair value gaps, there is so much room for error with you trying to figure out what is a real fair value gap. You know, what is a real area of support and resistance? I don't want to do that, right? Like, I don't even want to have that responsibility to figure out, okay, that's a real resistance there. I rather let the math and the past data, you know, dictate that for me. So that's what you're seeing, you know, with all these gold zones that you're seeing on the screen. That is why I think my strategy is not just powerful, but it's easy, right? Because to see price just come up to this gold line and then drop, or to see price come down to this gold line and then bounce up, that's all. You know, that's I think it should be that simple. But I think that's why it's so difficult, because the things that they teach, it makes it seem like it's way more difficult than it really is. And it's not. It's really not that difficult, but it is something that's been gatekeeped for decades, hundreds of years. But yeah, man, it's good. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to tell you my strategy is better than anybody else's strategy, but my whole philosophy with life, even beyond trading, is just purely to question what you already know, right? Like there's so much that you probably already know that probably works, but if you question other things enough, you can figure out how to make your strategy better, or you can figure out that maybe your strategy isn't the most efficient. So that's all I like to do when it comes to trading is just let people know that there's so many things that exist, and try to figure out what works for you, because sometimes trading on the 5 minute and the 1 minute, that's too much stress for a lot of people. So then what do I tell them? Well, maybe go trade on the higher time frame. The only thing junk about trading off of a higher time frame is usually you have to risk more. So if you don't have the account to withstand, a higher drawdown, then well, you should probably force yourself to figure out a 5 minute strategy. So, and I'll be real, my strategy is the way it is based on the 5 minute, the 15, and the 1 minute, because when I first started, I didn't have a lot of money, right? So luckily within these last like 5-10 years, we have things like funded accounts that we can actually get paid for very little, right? And that's the thing, is my strategy has such a high win rate because I did build the strategy around getting funded accounts. So, and I'm familiar with all of them, right? The majority that I use is Top Step, so like a $50,000 funded account on Top Step, during the combine you can't lose more than 2,000 and your goal is 3,000. I've had Top Step accounts for like 8 years now. It's been a long time. I have accounts that are so old that they're on the older dashboard. Right now, if you make a Top Step account, you have to use the new dashboard. But I've been doing it for so long that I have accounts that are still on the old dashboard. That's how long I've been doing this. Even before funded accounts existed, I was doing this. So, yeah. Once again, like I said, I'm not saying my strategy is the best strategy out there. I'm saying it works for me, and yeah, it's always good to go and question what you already know, because that's the only way we live life is question things, fill the brain with information, and live a more memorable life. That's about it. So, all right, bro. Like as you can tell, I can talk all day. So once again, great. Thank you for communicating with me, and you've made this last hour go by a little bit more enjoyable. For everybody else that came and went, thank you guys for being on as well. Once again, my name is Ed. On Instagram, once again, I'll put it in the chat real quick. On Instagram, I'm Edward. Feel free to add me, and you guys are more than welcome to talk to me on there and message me. I'm very active on Instagram. I'm not as active on YouTube. I only do like this live back testing and the live trading in the morning. So, and I got a call right now, so perfect timing for me to get off. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you, Simon. I look forward to seeing you guys on whenever I see you guys. So.